Hey, good morning, everybody. If you see some down frown on my face, that's because Europe did what the US banks did overnight. Asian markets actually went up 1.5%. All of Europe tanked 3%. European banking crisis. Now, here's the catch. The same way we have our Fed, who are scheduled to raise rates at the end of the month, the European Union is supposed to raise 50 basis points tomorrow. So we'll see what that happens. Right now, we have PPI numbers coming out right now. So let's just see how the market reacts, understanding that the Dow was down 550 points and the NASDAQ was down 150 points heading into PPI. So let's see how that plays out. And yes, we have quad witching on Friday, which is never a good thing for the market. So again, we have PPI today. We have quad witching on Friday. We have housing data and jobs on Thursday. Still waiting on the PPI information to be released. I'm going to do that live with you as soon as it comes in. I'm seeing how the markets are kind of stabilizing at 474. Again, the worst we've seen is about 550 down for the Dow. PPI went down 1%, 1/10 of 1%. That's actually a calm number, which would be good for the markets on any other given day, other than when we hear all about the banking issues in Europe. The Dow is still sitting around negative 400. Again, PPI came down 1/10 of 1%. Estimates were increased 3/10 of 1%. So that's a really good PPI. It tells us the cost of goods is coming down, which means inflation is coming down, which generally would be really strong for the market. And if we didn't hear what happened in Europe overnight, I'm sure our markets would be shooting up. Why? Because yesterday ended very green. I'm going to show you the SPY chart when we get into that really quickly. I'm just looking to see if the markets do anything, if there are any other announcements. PPI, no. All right, so let's pull up the market. Let's pull up the SPY because I mentioned to Carlos, big money got hurt. Big smart money. We're all saying follow the smart money. Now, if you go to yesterday's end of day closing, okay, volume started pumping up right around the 387 level. I mentioned 387.15 was a good support line. So I nailed the support line. I played an option. I got 190% return from here to the end of the day. The problem is I'm holding overnight. Why? Because the end of the day finish was so damn bullish. So again, I'm in for like one contract. Smart money, big money. They're in for like millions of dollars and they're going to get hurt. And I told Carlos this morning, I'm not sure what they're going to do on the market open. When the market opens down 500 points on the Dow and 150 points for technology, all those that were going in 0 days till expiration or even expirations that expire Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure what I would do. I would probably hold. I'd probably wait for some type of market pump to get out of my position. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Anybody that is in calls and got stuck in calls, I'm going to look for kind of a market pump. Why? Because the market hates to be fooled and have the rug pulled out of it. So if it was up here and it was a very strong bullish finish, which we were yesterday, heading into PPI, which came down 1/10 of 1% and was estimated to go up 3/10 of 1%, would have an extremely bullish effect on the market if it wasn't for European banks. So let's talk about European banks first. Credit Suisse, which I've been talking about since it was $3.50 a share, is now under $2 a share. Why? Because the Saudi National Bank, their largest shareholder in Credit Suisse, said, hey, we're not giving you any more money. And then we look at the option flows, what's open for the end of the week. It was actually more bullish than bearish. However, when you go out to the weeklies next week and the monthlies, it was still extremely bearish. So there are going to be some very happy people there. The 2-year treasury falls 25 basis points and was last at under 3.97. Should be strong for the market. The 10 years also going down. Should be strong for the market. However, the US dollar's going up. And again, the European Union's Fed is supposed to raise 50 basis points starting tomorrow. So that is really going to put a hurt and a crush on these European banks that already got crushed overnight. Now, as far as our Fed and our swaps rate, the Fed swaps rate, which determines the likelihood of the Fed increasing interest rates, actually anticipates a 100 basis point rate cut by December of this year, 2023. Again, 100 basis point cut from where we are. So we're not even worried about the March possible increase of 25 or 50 basis points. We're talking about a cut by the end of the year. Why? Because we're likely headed into recession and the Fed needs to help out. And it's really a struggle about our financial economy versus inflation. So which one does the Fed want to fail? Our financial economy? No. So inflation, they're going to put inflation on the back burner. They're going to table inflation and worry about our economy lasting through the next few months. So again, Fed rate hike March 22nd, unlikely 100 basis point cut by the end of the year. Yes, should be bullish for the market. Again, the market should be running hotter. PPI was down. However, again, European banks overnight got crushed the same way ours did. Credit Suisse shareholder, Saudi bank will not loan them any more money. All right, we can talk about, here we go. The DAX was down 3%. The French stock exchange down 3.6%. The London Stock Exchange down 2.58%. I mean, European stocks got killed. Now, what did I see yesterday? Again, we closed out the day. And again, big money is going to get crushed today because we closed out the day so strong and we found the support right here at 387 flat, and we bounced right up to the 392 level and probably would have went higher to start out today with PPI being calm. However, again, I mentioned Europe is really giving us and the rest of the world the finger, and the economy is going to be in trouble. Josh happens to think they cooked PPI real hard. It doesn't even matter. I mean, again, if it was excluding Europe, and again, our markets don't really depend on Europe, but they're going to have a major impact. If European banks fail, then you're talking about the world economy failing. Doesn't matter if it doesn't start, the domino doesn't start in the US because our Fed and our government stepped in and insured all uninsured depositors. That's what they basically said with Silicon Valley. They're going to make everybody whole. That's what they said with a couple other banks. Understand, we've had over 500 banks fail since 2009. So in the last 14 years, over 500 banks have failed. We don't hear about them because it's not an epidemic. It's not a pandemic of every bank just collapsing on each other. However, we seem to be in that area right now, especially with European banks, smaller banks struggling, feeling the same pain that our regional banks are feeling. Not to mention the ECB is potentially going to do a 50 basis point rate hike tomorrow. So if they don't do that rate hike and they come in flat and our Fed comes out with some announcement like, hey, there's going to be no rate hike March 22nd, then yeah, our markets could technically bounce back. But then you have to look at the psychology behind the markets and you say, okay, our markets bounce back. That's a perfect time to exit my bullish positions. I mean, again, I still think there are going to be some funds, some hedge funds, some big money buying the dip in certain stocks that they really like. And we can talk about what stocks those could be. Let me just see if I can find it. Fed Reserve, considering Fed futures rate. No, that's not very important. Wells Fargo did a shelf offering of $9.5 billion of mixed securities that they announced yesterday after the close. So again, Wells Fargo is telling me that they needed cash infusion. Now, here's the thing that caught me yesterday and why I was so bullish going into today, excluding what happened in Europe. 4,190 advancers yesterday, only 2,057 decliners. So the market was turning. Yesterday was a strong day for me, 89% higher. That's a great thing. Again, I got out of my Pinterest options. I mentioned KRE a couple of days ago, spiked 7% yesterday morning. I mentioned Zim Shipping, ZIM, which was up as much as 15% the other day, closed up only 5%, was owed another 10%, went up 10% yesterday, was up 2% pre-market. Let's see where some stocks are pre-market this morning. We'll talk about some stocks, where they could potentially go to. So again, I'm going to look at energy. Energy has every right to continue its sell-off. However, there was inflow into energy past 2 days. Once that does bottom, and it might take another 2 or 3 days to play out, I will be long energy. I will be long XLE. Why? Because there's one constant that is going to be known throughout the world, throughout our markets. It's that energy is going to continue to be strong, even in the case of recession. All right, let's look at the SPY. The SPY had inflow 2 straight days. We hit a high of 393.45 yesterday. We closed just under 392. And where are we this morning? Let's just check that out. We're at 384.52. So what would I like to do first thing in the morning? Well, let me just remove this. Let me share Discord because I want to look at the dark pool levels on Discord. This is what I did after the close yesterday. I typed out a few commands and I have them up. So let me make sure you guys can see that with me. Add to stream. All right. First thing I did is I went and looked at the top bullish and bearish flows from yesterday. So I see the SPX, the S&P, Microsoft, SPY, Qs, Netflix. Again, I was bullish as we closed out yesterday. Bearish flows, Tesla, Square, Russell, Snow, Pins. Remember, I had great Pinterest options that I returned over 100% and 120%. And thank goodness I sold those yesterday, because I'm assuming Pinterest is probably down 2 or 3% pre-market based on the Dow now being down 650 points. Let's turn that off so I don't depress myself. All right, so let's look at the market net flow. As we closed out yesterday, what could you see? Well, the price action was pretty good. We had some huge spikes, some nice dips, a return spike end of day. Actually, I would have thought we were going higher. You saw the premiums on puts are still right in line with the premiums of calls. However, given the information today, what are you likely to see? Premiums for puts jumping up here, premiums for calls dropping down at market open. And then I also checked out the flow and algorithms. Let's just see there we go. The market algo flow, what was it telling me? It was telling me the algo and the stock price both look like they're heading higher. Again, excluding what happened in Europe overnight. So again, that gave me every reason to be bullish. Where I was going to talk about the next potential levels we can go higher, now we actually have to look at the dark pool levels where we are right now. So let's check out where the SPY is sitting this morning, pre-market. Oh, it doesn't even come up on my thing. I probably have to do a 4-hour chart to see it. Here we go. 384.44. So we're at 384.44. Let's see where the dark pool levels are. 384.44. So here's a dark pool level and a pretty substantial one. 384.63. So we're slightly below that. So what could potentially happen at open? I'll give you your bull case scenario. Your bull case scenario is, hey, that's Europe's problem. We're good with what's here in the U.S. We understand the Fed is probably not going to raise rates March 22nd. In fact, the Fed swaps rate has 100 basis points cut priced in by December of this year. So again, we're in month number 3, 9 months out. In the next 9 months, we're going to have 100 basis point cuts. That's what the market's telling you, meaning the Fed is going to save the financial system and say, you know what, we're going to table inflation. We're not too worried about it because we're more worried about the financial system. So here, 384.63 is going to be a key level. If we bounce off that, you're seeing a ghost zone, meaning a very small supply demand zone, all the way to 387, all the way to 390, all the way to where we popped yesterday to 392.67. Now, if you're with me, pre-market yesterday, I said we were likely to go up to 392.56 before we rejected and headed back down. I was a little off. We went up to 393 before we rejected and headed back down. So again, these dark pool levels are very significant. They should help you trade. You should be looking at the dark pool levels for whatever stocks or options that you're involved in, whether it's DraftKings, Pinterest, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Netflix. It doesn't really matter. You want to look at the dark pool options. Why? Because the dark pool will tell you, understanding that over 50% of the daily trades that happen on our market happen in the dark pool, happen off market, so that you and I and the average retail trader doesn't know about them. So again, I can mention some dark pool levels yesterday that were pretty important. Let me just get to my pictures that I saved and see if I can find that really quick. Go through it. I've got so many things that I like to talk about. No, these are Tesla, right? Dark pool level, 60% the other day. All right, here we go. Nearly $4 billion was reported off exchange on the SPY at $391.61. That was Friday. Additional $2.5 billion was reported at $385.96, which is just under $386. So $386 to me, which used to be this dark pool level of $384.63, which has come down by 2 points, should be support again. The fact that we're sitting there or a little under there pre-market, and again, all of this happened, less than 1% of the trading happens pre-market after hours. So I'm really going to look to see if the market has a little pop this morning. If it hasn't popped, dark pool levels are very small. However, if I have a chance to get out and my stuff pops back up, I'm going to take that and I'm going to run. So I would like to be out of positions. Again, what I mentioned is big money was heavily swayed yesterday towards the close. Big money were going to call options on the SPY, call options on the SPX. And guess what? Big money finally got hurt. And yes, it sucks that us smaller investors, unless you're on the put side of things. But again, smart money at the close yesterday were on the call side of things. However, we have quad witching coming up. So we had PPI today came in lighter than expected. CPI yesterday came in as expected. Markets kind of like that. We went up, we dipped, buy the dip, back up. However, overnight, Europe banks worried that they're going to fail. Credit Suisse will likely be the next bank to fall, in my opinion. But there are a ton of banks throughout Europe that are off 10, 15, 18, 22, 42%. The same thing we saw happen here in the US. So let's talk about some stocks that we have here. Again, I'm looking longer term. I'm looking at XLE as far as energy. Staying away from everything. I mean, these smaller banks, even in the US, are down now 10, 12, 18% this morning. I got involved with some Carvana options yet again, like I never learned my lesson. The first time this week, I took break even. Pins, I missed. I made my 120%, 100%. I was up on DraftKings going into today, but I'm assuming DraftKings is off this morning. Again, those options expire Friday. It's only 20-something cents down from where I had my entry price. So I'll probably hold on to those just to be safe. I don't want to sell out for cheap. Even Asian stocks, Baidu, Alibaba, down 3%, 3%. You have a company like Salesforce, which actually had 2 days of inflow and was getting quite interesting. So this is what you see with Salesforce. Salesforce had earnings. They were selling off into earnings. The stock popped, from 166 to 186. It finally sold off and consolidated, and you have 2 straight days of inflow. So Salesforce was likely to go higher, except for you have what happened overnight. So Salesforce probably being down 2.6%. I would have guessed over 3% like every other stock. Although I want to get bullish on Salesforce, it's hard to if you think that the European markets are going to collapse. If European markets collapse, it's a domino effect. Our markets will be right behind it. So it's extremely tricky. If you're talking about just investing in stocks and you want to go out 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you're a long-term investor, I would be buying Salesforce. I would be buying Amazon. I'd be buying Google. However, since we're day traders and we trade options, we're saying I mean, it's at 178 right now, Salesforce. Is it likely to bump back up to 182 today? 50-50 on that. Or it could easily drop down to 174 on its way back down. So it's extremely tough day. I'm trying to find some stocks that might have support. Okay, here you go. Boeing had an announcement the other day. The FAA was finally allowing them to proceed with their MAX jets that they have on their production line. Boeing was $202 now. Boeing's $202 then. It's $202 now. So meaning it jumped all the way up yesterday to 204, and then it went, that was 2 days ago, and then it went yesterday to $213. Pulled back a little. Now we're at 202 on Boeing. So there are going to be some long-term investors and some hedge funds and some big money that are definitely going to be buying Boeing. I don't care whether it's today. And yeah, they will start entering the positions today. They won't go 2 feet all in. But Boeing's going to get bought up. There's no doubt about that. Let's just go down. Amazon had some support. Then you have other stocks that had zero support, like Rivian, which was off 3.79% yesterday. Again, with today being a harder day, there haven't been bullish sentiments in Rivian. I think it'll go down lower. Tesla, I could be bullish in. Tesla had a couple of green days ahead. They'll probably buy up Tesla today. Again, Tesla, people that like Tesla, investors long-term in Tesla believe it's an $800 stock. The fact that the European Union are having financial problems, the fact that our banking is having financial problems, Tesla is not having problems. Tesla's not having problems. Nothing changed about Tesla. So the fact that it was 2 straight inflow days, big money will likely be buying Tesla, Boeing, Salesforce. There are some other stocks that will be bought. When you go to the lower echelon of stocks and you're like, well, some of these stocks don't make money. And I'll give you an example. Let's see. Datadog doesn't make enough money. That's off 2.5% pre-market. That'll probably drop 5% today. Again, ZIM integrated shipping. It was up 10% yesterday, back to 23. Let's remember, it was at $24.50 before it decided to turn down off earnings. Again, SoFi has no earnings really, so they're down 5% pre-market. TDOC, no real earnings, down 3.25%. Upstart, down 4% yesterday, down 4% today. Now, Upstart was on our public watch list yesterday, so if you got in puts, you're looking good with Upstart. I almost got into calls in Johnson & Johnson yesterday at 151 and change. It closed at 154, but it's down 1% pre-market, so I would have been right at my entry point. Maybe I would have been 50 cents higher. Carnival was as high as $9.56 yesterday. This is Carnival's outflow. What do you see? You see like 7 straight outflow days. Again, it closed at $9.07. It's off 4% this morning. So it's at $8.70. Let's remember, if you go back a number of months, I was into Carnival at $8.88. $8.88 made sense to me. All right, so let's get some questions on here. What do we got? Wow, I got a lot of questions. Okay. I'm kind of sad I missed the meta. Haha. I missed the entry 2 days ago and I didn't chase. Yeah, that's why I got involved with pins. I thought meta was going good. Snapchat, pins, they're all somewhat related. But then meta announced some more layoffs and things like that. Josh here thinks Meta and NVIDIA are too high. Again, yesterday he said NVIDIA was too high. Let's remember what I said yesterday morning. Pre-market, NVIDIA was 234. Who predicted NVIDIA was going to go up to 242? Me, this guy here. I said NVIDIA could easily go up to 242. At 242 or 243, I would be selling and taking profit. Where did NVIDIA go up to a high yesterday? I think 242, 243. So it's good to make predictions. What else we got? What do I think AMC after the meeting? Again, I don't really follow AMC that closely. However, yesterday when I saw AMC get beat up, I think it was $4.50. It closed at $4.64. At $4.50, I almost got involved. I was like, man, these apes are going to come through. $4.50. It looks like a strong buy here. It closed at $4.64, so I would have been making a little money. However, I got to assume AMC is probably off, what, 0.5% this morning? Let's just see where AMC is. AMC. Of course, it's not coming up. I probably have it higher on my watch lists. That's why. Yep, there it is. Okay, now it's off 2%. So it's at $4.54. So again, I would still be slightly green at open. Let's see what we got here. There's support there. The 185 calls my watch list went from 200 to 1,000. If I knew what stock you were talking about, I would talk about it. Wish. Buy more, sell calls, or unload. Again, I'm holding. I'm in for 10,000 shares, 2,500 shares. I bought just under 50. 2,500 shares, I bought at 47. And 5,000 shares, I bought just under 40 cents each. Why? Because my exit strategy is 81 cents per share. So let me just see where Wish is. It's not at the top of my wish because this is a long-term stock investment. Okay, it's at 41 cents each. So again, that's fine. My last purchase was 0.399999. So I'm actually up on my last purchase. My average is 0.44, I think 75 or 65. So I'm 44.5 cents. It's 41 cents. Yeah. So I'm definitely down 3 cents, which is probably 8%. But again, for me, it's a longer term hold. I'm looking to get out at 81. Bank of America hit a 52-week low this morning. What are my thoughts? Unless I know for sure certain banks. Now, here's the thing about Bank of America. Bank of America actually took in, I think it was $20-something thousand. Oh, no, $15 billion worth of new deposits yesterday. So as people are leaving these smaller regional banks, these other banks, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, they're all growing. What do we got here? Crash, not canceled. Yeah, I mean, it was canceled up until 4 p.m. yesterday. In fact, overnight, the Hang Seng market was up over 1%. So yeah, the crash was canceled. However, that flipped and it's back on after what happened in Europe. And again, I'm more hesitational because the European Fed is planning on raising rates 50 basis points unless they get the memo that that'll absolutely crush their banks, which it will. It'll put a lot of European banks, the smaller banks, now that they're having the same issues that we were having in our banks. And what happened with our banks is they bought these bonds. They took in, it's almost like a Ponzi scheme. They took in money. They took in more money than they have to pay out, more deposits than withdrawals. However, they invested them in 6-month CDs, in 2-year interest notes, things of that nature that earn a certain percent. Now, as the interest rates went up, the price of the bonds went down. So when you heard about Silicon Valley selling $20 billion worth of bonds for $18 billion and losing $2 billion, which caused this whole catastrophe, yeah, because the bond price went down and they had to sell out to be more liquid. So what do we got? Caution with AMC because the Ape merge was approved. Oh, I guess, what are they merging? Ape and AMC shares? Again, I don't know enough to share that. Home Depot, Walmart, any good? Long-term stocks. Again, not two stocks that I follow. Why? Because their options are expensive. Home Depot is always expensive. What would I do with Home Depot? Here's my chart right here. Now, this is without the European issue. And what do you see? Fell off the cliff when it came to earnings. Had a bit of a recovery, but based on volume, based on outflow for the last 6 days, I would say Home Depot's still going to struggle. If Home Depot drops 4% or maybe like another 10 or 12 points today, then yeah, I can see it being bought up at $270. But as it sits 282 pre-market, I wouldn't be buying Home Depot. What was your other question? Walmart. Okay. Again, I don't follow Walmart, so let me just see Walmart. Here we go. WMT. Look at the 1 month chart. Yeah, this might be a little more interesting. Why? It's more of a safer haven. Walmart, Costco, Target. You can place them all together. Again, they're pretty expensive. You saw yesterday Walmart 138 on the high, 137 on the low. So even some choppiness, you're not talking about that much movement. Again, you're probably sitting pre-market? What is it off? Probably less than 1%. Yeah, 0.8. So yeah, I mean, they're obviously buying Walmart. Now, you'll probably get a better price on market open than you would pre-market. So if you're seeing it at 136 and change to 137 right now being bought up, I would say expect a ton of volatility today. Again, remember, CPI yesterday came in as expected. PPI actually came in 0.1% down. They were expecting a 0.3% increase. So our markets would be ripping if it wasn't for that. Yeah, we can look at NVIDIA. Again, nailed NVIDIA yesterday. It was 234 pre-market, which was my guess. I was like, hey, it's probably around 234. Boom. I said on a good day, if yesterday's a strong day, which I anticipated, I said we're likely to see 242, possibly 243. And that's where NVIDIA went up to. Let's just see where it went yesterday. 242.19. So, I mean, that was a great call. When I look at the 1 day NVIDIA, yeah, they're probably going to buy it up. Yesterday's low was 234.60, where we were pre-market yesterday. We're still not there. We're 237.15 pre-market. So yeah, I mean, if I was going to go look to buy NVIDIA, I would say I'll enter at 233, 234 if it gets there today. And I'll sell at 240 today if we get back to where we closed at yesterday. So again, if I wanted to make a play on NVIDIA, and I think that's what I might do today because I've been accurate with NVIDIA, I'm going to look for it to go down to 233, 234. When we find support, I'm going to buy some call options. I'll probably go out a week or so, and I'll look for it to go to 240. If it happens today in 1 day, good. I'll be in and out. As far as my other positions, please find me on Discord. You can use the same rooms that Big Money uses. You can type in the same thing. So we're looking at dark pool levels. What would I like to do? I'd like to look at the dark pool level for NVIDIA. So DP levels and NVIDIA. Let's take a look at it. See where the support is. Okay, here's what we got. Let's just make sure it's on the screen. It is. So we'll go over here and we'll say dark pool level 234.46, big level 238.48, big level 9 billion. The fact that this first level was yesterday's low, I might think it's going to trade right in between these ranges, knowing that the next level higher, 242.51. Remember, we rejected 242.39 yesterday. So I'd play these same 3 to 4 levels. If it drops under 234.46, I would be looking for support right at the 230 level, 230 and 44 cents. So yeah, I'm going to keep NVIDIA up there. I'm definitely going to make a play on NVIDIA today. 2 days ago, or was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago, Monday, I mentioned I was looking at Coin. What happened? Coin went up 12%. The next morning, yesterday, Coin went up another 10%. You get out, you secure profit, and that's how it is. With that said, if you like what I'm saying, please give a thumb up. Join me tomorrow morning, heading over to Discord. Everybody's welcome to join me, and have a great day of trading. Remember,